Almost. We're connecting.
Yes.
Yeah. It is almost happening. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Almost. We're connecting.
Yes.
All right, here we go. We're live, baby. We're
Nice.
doing it. We're really here. Welcome aboard.
Nice.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate it. I love that. We're just gonna jump into another session here as you sip. Is that good, by the way?
Yeah, it's nice. I am. I'm pretty easy when it comes to coffee. I'm
Okay.
just
You're not a
yeah.
total coffee snob?
No, no.
I
I've gotten. I mean, I'm not like I'm not gonna drink Folgers, but like, I'm not like measure out the beans and it has to be a certain grind, and I'm not. I
Oh.
don't get into all that. Probably the
See.
most I get is I prefer ground, like whole bean ground.
Mm.
Uh, and that's kind of it.
I really
Yeah.
want to get to that. I want
Okay.
to level up because I'm kind of a coffee snob. It's not that I don't enjoy Folgers. I will drink it, but
Yeah.
I want to get a measurer thing,
hmm
and I want to know, oh, what temperature do I need to steam the thing at? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You just want to drink it.
I want to drink it. Yeah, if I any I'm cool. Like I'll say it, like if it's at home, it's like we're just gonna make it in the coffee pot, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I appreciate going to places that employ
That do
people like
that.
that
Yeah.
who are like they're just all about it and the cool, awesome, great man.
So
I will happily enjoy the coffee that you make. I just
there's
want I'm not gonna put that much effort in at home.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a photographer here in town named Jack. Shout out Jack Robert. Um, he used to work at Swamp Rabbit Cafe,
Okay.
and they trained him as a barista, and
hmm
he got so enthusiastic in love with it that he quit that job to become a full-time photographer, which
hmm
I think is cool. But he threw away his old machine and bought one of the nice fancy schmancy ones.
hmm
And he's like, I don't even like going to coffee shops now because it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Like, oh man.
if you I don't know enough about it, but like what I do know is like you do it enough and you really just I mean, I guess it's like anything else. Like you get really experienced at it and you can tell. Like they
Yeah.
like those people they can tell like hey, there's too much coffee, there's not enough, there's too much creamer or whatever. See, I'm embarrassing myself, but too much creamer, not
Too
enough.
much what?
It
Yeah.
wasn't ground correctly. The milk is over steamed or under like all of the just like yeah, they can just tell just by like taste and looking at it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's gotta be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be hard. Because I know like if I'm looking at like content, like I'm always gonna notice like lighting and
I know it's
movement
hard
and
not to notice.
yeah. But
It
I can
really
always turn
is.
the TV off or something. Like you if it's
Right.
coffee, like you're just kind of stuck with like either just find a really good spot that you really love or just coffee at home. Like you just gotta make your own coffee from now on.
Yeah, I
Yep.
know. So hey, welcome to January 28th. I'm here live with Dusty Cannon, and he is a amazing videographer, but he also has a passion for storytelling and helping people find their voice, branding, they're getting clarity around how they want to execute their vision. And he's a big part of like, let's bring your vision to life after we figure out like what we actually want to do with this thing. So just want to say welcome aboard.
Thanks.
He's also a dad and has some pets, and his newly he's what how old is he now?
Ollie, he
Ollie?
is just over 17.
Yeah,
Just over, no, nope, 18 months is half a year.
I was gonna.
It always throws me. He is just under 19 months,
Okay,
not 17.
I was gonna say you're a new dad, but you're like new-ish
New, I mean, I
at
still
this
feel like a new
point.
dad, because it's the whole year to 2 years is wild. Like just how much he's grown and
Yeah,
like I mean, he doesn't talk yet, but he can make animal sounds and he points to things and it's really cool because
yeah,
he's just yeah, it's just cool. He's developing his little personality and just doing the things and he's a cute little dude.
yeah,
I'm a big
yeah.
fan.
He is. I've seen pictures and video, FaceTime
So
sometimes. But yeah, what's it like having having a toddler essentially while you're like trying to get work done?
Well, I'm glad I'm married. Good grief. It's crazy because like when he was born, so he's born July 24,
Uh-huh.
and from July 24 to February, Marchish of 25, I actually kept him. So like I would keep him like during the day. And he was a baby. So I mean he was, basically slept and ate and pooped. That was pretty much it.
Right, right.
And so when he was a baby, it was hard because it was like I would have him at home with me and I wanted to get stuff done, but it was like also he's like chilling in the rocker behind me, and like I want to hang out with him. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to be like here working on this stuff. Like I want to hang out with the little dude. So that was hard then. But then now it's like if I'm home with him or like have him around, like so we had snow and ice and whatever the past couple days.
Uh-huh.
So like the studio, I wasn't at the studio. I was working from home, and my wife she was home as well. But even just in that, like it's hard to get stuff done when he's around because not only do I want to spend time with him, now he wants to spend time with dada.
Yeah.
So it's like he wants to sit in my lap or play with this or play with that or watch Bluey or and then it's just I think that's one of the things I want to say this without sounding like a jerk. It's one of the things I'm most grateful having a studio and having a
Mhm.
place that I can go and work. Not because I want to get away from my wife or get away from my son or anything like that,
Mhm.
but I'm able to be like, hey, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna be real intentional, get the work done, do what I need to do, and then and I get to have the inverse of that of
Right.
like when I go home, when I'm home. I'm home. Like I'm not working on
Just that.
stuff. I'm not editing. I'm not emails, phone calls. Like I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we're yeah.
Right.
And I haven't really had that. That's been a fairly recent development.
Hmm.
Um, especially before I had the studio because it was very much just didn't have the studio, so I was just literally working out of a desk at the back of our house. And which is convenient, because you can just like wear your pajamas and walk out
Right,
there and work
right.
on stuff. But is having that like personal life, professional like separation is
Mhm.
it's awesome. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I love that. And I'm sure I've told you before, but congratulations on doing a good job so far.
Thanks. I try. Yeah, it's that's been so Top Shelf's been around since 2018.
Mhm.
We started off just doing content, just photo video stuff, and then as we worked more with businesses, what we've realized is like uh we would give businesses like the photos or the video, the reels or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Great. What do we do with them?" Right? And I mean,
Right.
we had people we would do stuff with, and then it'd be 6 months before we would see any of it on their websites or socials, and that's like 6 months of like you paid for this, right? Like this
Right.
is you need to get a return on this. So
Yeah.
we said, okay, hey, like how can we help? So we expanded and started doing website design, started doing social media management, started like, hey, rather than hey, we're going to just do this and just give it to you and okay, best of luck to you, right? Instead, hey, let's be that partner where we can help on the back end and make sure that
Yeah.
this investment that you've made, you really get a return on it.
Right.
But then something I've been told, I mean, honestly, as long as I've been doing video work, is like I've always gotten complimented on being able to interview people and being able to like sit down and talk to them and like pull out like not just the how they do what they do, but
Mhm.
like why they do it and the passion behind it and kind of the storytelling aspect of it.
Right.
And it's always been something I've really enjoyed doing. And so pretty much from day one, we've kind of done a very low level of brand strategy of like kind of moving beyond just the physical thing that people do.
Yeah.
But we were
Which
like,
is cool.
hey, what if we actually told people that we do this because we do, right? And what if we make it an
Right.
actual like systemized thing that
Mhm.
like we actually have a process for and we're able to like it's not like hey we make good content but no hey like even if we're not making the content with you we can still give you the framework the structure the foundation for if you have to do this yourself if you've got to do your own content or you've got to do your own socials or whatever so we expanded kind of in the other direction of like before we pick up a camera
Yeah.
we're going to do brand strategy we're going to
Yeah.
talk about like how do you communicate the value of what you do all that to say so we've kind of expanded to do these different things I was going into something and I forgot where I was going so we expanded into doing all these things but I was tying it into what you asked about and then the growth of Top Shelf so started in 2018 we expanded in these different areas and really along the way like what I've realized is
Mhm.
like creatives are either creatives, marketing people, kind of in this arena.
Yeah.
They're either very artistic, so they're like, I mean, they can make gorgeous stuff. I mean, it's so pretty, the lighting, the just everything, right? But there's no strategy to it. There's no
Right.
like, hey, how does this benefit the end user? Like, how does this
Mm-hmm.
benefit the business or whoever?
Mm-hmm.
Or they're very like analytical. They're very like numbers, science, KPI, the click rate, the just the whatever, the
I
science
see.
behind
I'm
it.
becoming more of one of those people.
Sure.
I still love the pretty fancy lighting things. I mean, I don't think that'll ever go away, but
Yeah.
it seems like the more business I'm doing, the more I'm like, ooh, is there an API that'll integrate with this? And
Yeah.
then
Well, and where businesses see the most value is in the middle there. And so really why Top Shelf has moved and kind of expanded beyond just content is like just I believe brands deserve better. Like they
yeah.
deserve to have a creative partner that's like artistic and impactful. So bring in the artistry and the visuals and that storytelling
Mm-hmm.
part that
Mm-hmm.
like connects people to people
Yeah.
with the strategy and the science and the what I'd call like the scientific marketing aspect of it. And like, hey,
Right.
like when you put those together, that's how you can really help people. And then having it where rather than like you can work with us for your content, but then you have to figure out your website or figure out your socials or go to this other person or party to do this or that. Like, hey, just work with us. Like we're gonna come in holistically. Well, what does this need to look like
Yeah.
from beginning to end and then help?
Right.
That being said, that all sounds really, really good. And I'll make a really good reel. But like the and on our end of it, it's been that's I know that's a lot of what we worked on in Photo Lines has been like systems
Yeah.
and been like the business aspect of it of like hey
Mm-hmm.
like building Top Shelf as a business to where like I'm able to perform better, but then
Right.
also like it's not just me, like I've got an editor, an admin, and like how do we really like how do we build this in a way where like Top Shelf doesn't just deliver a good end result or like good like deliverables or website or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but a better experience for clients, more growth for the business, like the stuff that like has nothing to do
It
with
doesn't
the
have anything
camera.
to do with the camera.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody thinks like when I tell people like, oh, like my coach is a photographer. I think some people just assume we just sit around and just talk about like cameras and lighting and it's like no, I mean yeah, we'll have the occasional conversation because we'll see something cool,
Uh,
but most of our I say like 99% of our conversations are business, our
yeah.
systems
Yeah.
are like how do we tweak the client experience or how do we tweak the delivery or how do we tweak the editing process or the like it's all the back endy,
Yeah.
boring-ish
Yeah.
business stuff.
It is, and I hate to say like that it's the boring work, but the boring work is where it makes the most difference.
Hmm.
And that's so you kind of pulled the sheet back or whatever. So I have a coaching business. It's called Photo Lines, where we help creatives give them foundational business um, education, but also create systems and processes and help them help the creatives get clear, not just on their numbers, but also on their vision and how to execute their goals. So that's what we do in Photo Lines. And so Dusty is one of my members that we've been working together for
Coming up on a year.
11 months, almost 12.
Yeah, it'll
Um,
be a year in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I'm jumping ahead since I've just talked about it, but
Yeah.
what do you think? Actually, I'm just going to take a quick timeout because I'm seeing a lighting. Here's talking about the nerdy photography stuff. I'm seeing a lighting thing that I just have to fix.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, while you do that, I wanted to tee up Spencer. Um, yeah, I mainly just wanted to tee you up with Photo Lions.
well,
I don't know what
thanks.
you're gonna ask. Never mind. I don't know what you're gonna ask.
No, go
I
ahead.
can assume you're
Just.
probably gonna ask me like, what's the experience been like, or like what's been the most impactful thing,
Oh,
or something along those lines.
I don't want to say until you say whatever you
Well, I
you
was gonna
feel
say
excited to say.
I came into Faux Lions about a year ago, in into
Yeah.
February, beginning of March, and I've always in the 10 well I guess going on 10 years it'd be more like 7 or 8 or whatever it is that Top Shelf has existed, right?
Mm,
Like the vast this is going to sound kind of braggy, the vast minority of I mean I'd say maybe a handful, maybe like I'd say probably less than 10 but probably more like 5 or less people that I've ever worked with didn't like the photos or the
yeah.
video or the whatever, right?
Yeah.
If there's ever been an issue with Top Shelf, it's been the businessy part of things. It's been communication or it's been timelines or it's been whatever, right? It's always been like the boring businessy stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been one of the coolest things that's been able to shift in Top Shelf since then. is like getting me off kind of the front lines of things, where when I came in, I was doing everything. I was shooting and
You were
editing
buried.
and had a backlog of editing and just all the just yeah.
Yeah.
So and then now being able to say like, okay, hey, like right now, like I'm not working on edits. Like right now I'm working on and but
But
there's editing
edits are
getting
getting
but
done.
yeah, that's an important distinction. The editing is getting done. I'm just not doing it.
Right.
Which is great, but then I'm able to focus on the systems. I'm able to like, hey, how do we like right now the big thing that we're working on is the client experience. So like me and you sat down for the annual and it was like, okay, hey, what does the client experience at Top Shelf look like from
Hmm.
that first email, phone call, whatever, to offboarding, right? What does it look like? And then like what needs to fix, what
Right.
needs to get fixed, right?
Right.
And that's what I'm doing is literally overhauling all of that. But then being able to like build a system so that like my admin can run it because that's admin's named Eric. That's what Eric's really good at is like running systems. That's not my default. My default is
Yeah.
more the creative, visionary, directive side of artistic side of things. I'm like a textbook photographer. It's fine. But Eric's really good at running systems. So it's like being able to have a system to where I can make sure that like every client that comes and works with Top Shelf,
Mm.
whether it's a one-off, it's a retainer, it's a whatever that looks like, gets the same experience and the same quality experience where it's like, oh, hey, this, I mean, most people when they work with Top Shelf, it's well, I'll say this: our minimum is $2,000. We're not going to do anything for it. Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense for us to do any work for less than 2 grand, right?
Right. Right.
So anybody that's working with us is going to be spending four figures, minimum 4 figures. Most people tend to be more around like 7 to 9K typically, but we've had bigger projects, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, people are spending upper 4 or 5 figures with us. Like that experience matters. Like that's
Hmm.
just as important as the photos or the video or the website or the whatever we deliver for them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but being able to make sure that that's consistent, it's good, and I don't have to do it. And not that I'm above doing it, not that I don't want to do it. It's just I know that there are things that I need to be doing, and that's not it.
Right.
But making sure that it's done right and it can be, and it's just cool that like a year ago I was having to, I couldn't think about stuff like this because I was having to spend all of my time and energy editing and being on like the front lines.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Short answer, coaching's great and you should do it. That's the spark notes that we're going to walk away with on
So
this one.
I was not gonna say me specifically. It just happens that I am the
Sure.
coach, and I love being a coach. But what I was gonna say was how long has Top Shelf been in existence,
Mhm,
and then the follow up is when you took on coaching.
mhm,
I'm sorry, when you began a coaching program,
mhm,
how has it changed things for you? Has it accelerated certain aspects? Has it opened your eyes to certain things?
mhm.
Has it improved your home life? Has it
Yeah,
just that's what I was going to ask is just like, what do you think the benefit is
of coaching.
of coaching? Yeah.
So Top Shelf's been around since 2018. 2018 to 2022, like Top Shelf was around.
Mm,
I was I was on staff at a church, but like wasn't being well, I got paid towards the end, but it was like $400 a month, which is like cool, but that's not going to pay the bills.
right.
So most of what I did then was what actually really all that I did then was weddings with like the occasional event video or whatever.
Yeah.
But even then, like because there weren't our systems and I had this basically a full-time job with no pay and also trying to do Top Shelf, it was the definition of chaotic and on fire.
Yeah.
Um, it was awful. Yeah. So, going into January of 23 was when I stepped away from the church role and I was full-time Top Shelf.
Okay.
But even then it was still like it was full-time, just me, no real systems, no real whatever. I was kind of just, I would say kind of winging it, but kind of
But
like I
kind
was
of,
kind of
yeah.
just, yeah.
I think that's most people.
Oh, 100%.
I
Yeah.
think that's most people. They don't realize that they don't have a system, even though they wake up and go, "What do I want to do
I
today?"
was the system. It was
Yeah.
whatever, like if it was from like on the sales side, it was just whoever I could talk to that would give me money to do something. Yes, cool,
Mhm.
great, awesome.
And then I'm gonna assume that you didn't know where leads were coming from. You didn't know what you made or spent
No, no
last
idea.
month or last year.
No. My idea of bookkeeping was like, oh, good, there's money in the account. Awesome. Yeah. Great, cool. I'll be able to pay. And it was always my biggest frustration, uh, up till fairly recently, my biggest frustration was it was just this constant like, oh, crap, another bill, crap, another bill,
Uh-huh.
crap, another bill. Like it was just I would always forget about like all the bills that would come out every month. So
Yeah.
I was constantly getting the email like, we processed your payment. Great, thanks. That's cool. I don't need to eat. That's fine. That's no worries. Yeah,
So
cool.
definitely paycheck to paycheck
Oh,
mentality.
definition of def.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say like
And lifestyle.
paycheck to a break and then another paycheck. It was yeah, it was rough. Coaching. I'd say probably the two biggest benefits of coaching is one, um, like perspective. So having somebody that like isn't involved in the day to day of my business, but knows the goals and what's happening and all what's happening with it, right?
Mhm.
Like being able to give me a good perspective. I'd say like good perspective and constructive perspective. So
Right.
good perspective of when I feel like I'm not moving fast enough or things aren't happening quick enough or I'm frustrated or whatever, having somebody that is the coach on the sidelines, if you will, being able to like look at it and be like, "Hey man, I know you feel
We're
like you
looking at the whole game.
exactly." But I'm looking at the play. Oh,
Right.
that's good.
Yeah, I
Somebody's
know.
probably used that before,
Oh,
but
ooh.
like I'm looking at like the play in front of me, but they're looking at the whole game, the whole
Mhm.
field, you know?
Mhm.
So when I get frustrated, when I feel like I'm not moving quick enough or things aren't happening fast enough or whatever, that outside perspective of like, hey, yeah, that play not good, but the game we're good. Like the game's going well, right?
Yeah.
But then also giving the constructive perspective of like, hey, you said you want to win the game, right? Like this is how you're focused on the play,
Right.
helping me kind of focus on the game as well.
Right.
And kind of holistically on the business, like working on the business, not just in it. One of the biggest things I think, like specifically, has been like, hey, what's the big goals for the quarter? Like, what's the like call them rocks, but like, what's the big thing that we want to have happen, right? Okay, awesome. That big thing. Well, what's step one? How do we accomplish that? Okay, great. Step two, step three, step four, and then breaking that down to like, okay, hey, this needs to get done by this day, this by this day, or whatever.
Mhm.
If you do that, then look, this really big thing that seems overwhelming, and how are you going to get this done, and whatever. You, oh, look, it's done,
Yeah.
and it's not that you made the work easier, right? The work's the work, and you got to do it, but
Yeah.
it made it possible because rather than it takes that perspective to like take this big thing and then make it something that's just step by step by step.
Yeah. And
That's cool.
I appreciate that that feedback from your perspective because it helps me understand that what we're doing is actually working and beneficial. And I think it's crucial to if you're not setting goals, you're just out there winging it.
Yeah.
You're just trying to take another step, level up, but you don't know how, you don't know what to do. You have lofty goals and ambition, but unless you can pinpoint what it is and then create an action plan
Mhm.
full of steps and dates and then somebody to keep you accountable to that, that I think is the biggest game changer for most people because doing the strategy and review strategy and execution plan, um, without doing that you're just kind of out there. I
It's all
don't know.
feelings. It's all emotions.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I
Yeah.
think I think this is a good idea, but a lot of creative artists are just on their own with no backboard, no sounding board,
Mhm.
no team, no community, no support, and that kills me. So
Yeah.
one of the things I do for Fashion Week is I have to organize all the volunteers, and it seems like every time I have a conversation with one of them, they just feel alone,
Yeah.
and I just freaking hate that. So, and it's not. I try to make it not like a sales pitch at
Yeah.
that point. I'm like, hey, if you want community, you should join our group
Yeah.
because that's literally in the. I'm not wearing the shirt today, but
Yeah.
under the new one it says um, community and coaching,
Yeah.
like literally in the phrase. Like
Yeah.
that was the point of my wanting to start the whole thing in the first place, was to give people a place that they could call home or like vent frustrations or ask for help and not be judged because you're a professional but you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like this is a safe place to do that. And I just wish more people would realize like I don't care about the money. I have to turn these lights on and pay my rent, and like I need money for those things.
Yeah.
But if I was an independent millionaire, I would still have the coaching program because I know it helps people.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it.
Well, and like I think it's almost just like like with creatives, it's almost a cyclical thing where it's like I would say the vast majority of creatives that I've ever interacted with, right? And this I'm gonna kind of expand this and say like content people, so photographer, videographer, whatever, and then like social media managers, website, that maybe not websites, they tend to not do this as much maybe, but definitely on the content side, social media manager, whatever. Like I think a lot of people walk around with I'd call it half like victim mentality, but also like a like not a minimal mentality. What am I looking for? A like scarcity mentality. There we go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a scarcity mindset. That's the term. A
Okay.
scarcity mindset where it's like, oh, there's not enough work out there, and we're all having to like fight each other for scraps, right? There's
Mm,
no way that there's people that would pay me what I actually need to get paid or should get paid for the work that I do.
right.
And because of that, I have to go and scrap with other people to make bottom dollar on stuff and work, and I'm going to say this in a loving way, work with clients that aren't going to really appreciate what I do and
Hmm.
and care more about paying as little as they can to get as much as they can versus like the quality of the work or the service or the whatever it is, right?
Right. Right. Right.
But it's because they have like the scarcity mentality, and then the scarcity mentality informs how they interact with other creatives. Like, oh, I'm not going to show you, I mean, like, I'm not going to show you how I did this lighting thing or my
Mm.
system for this, or like how I did this outreach thing, or how I do this, whatever, because then like if I show this to you, like you're going to steal my clients. Or like if I bring you into this project that I'm doing, then like, you're going to, when I'm not in the room, you're going to talk to my client and you're going to be like, hey man, listen, I could do it for like $10 cheaper if you
Secretly,
want to work with me.
secretly slip them your business
Yeah,
card.
yeah, like secretly slip the business card or whatever. And I'm not saying there's not jerks. And people are that people that don't do the right thing and they are going to try to do that kind of stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not saying all
Gonna
creatives are.
always be
There's
that.
always going to be people, but like I think it's a cyclical thing where that scarcity mindset informs that, and
Hmm.
because of that, creatives don't want to like be friends with other creatives. They don't want
Right.
to. Which is sad because like one of my favorite things about like having you as a coach is like you don't really, I mean, you do a little bit of video stuff, but you don't do like video to the degree that Top Shelf does video, which
Correct.
is fine.
100%.
Which is fine because I love having somebody that like even though you don't do the specific thing that I do, you still own a creative business and you still understand a lot of the frustrations that I'll have. So it's
Right.
just really great, like coaching aside, just having somebody that can be like, man, this happened and da 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 da, and having somebody that like isn't just like, oh yeah, that's unfortunate, but you actually, oh yeah,
You
man,
want me to
listen,
do that?
I mean, you can if you want, um, but like who like gets it, it's like, oh yeah, man, listen, I've been there. That's such a bummer. That
Yeah.
stinks. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I've got other friends who are like photographers and videographers and stuff, and that's something I've always tried to be like. Is like,
Hmm.
hey, like I want other photographer videographer friends because I want other people that a I can do cool stuff with together and like be able to like, hey man, look at this shot, is this cool, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when they've got something, oh yeah, dude, this is sick, and like encourage them, whatever.
Yeah.
But also when I'm frustrated about something, like
You can voice it
I want friends that
and
like
get feedback because they get
exactly,
it.
yeah, because they
Yeah.
get it. But yeah, I think that it's just like this cyclical thing with creatives where it's like because they operate in this way, they don't want to like network, they don't want to be friends with other creatives. They feel like every other creative is the enemy.
Yeah.
They're the competition. They're the whatever.
Yeah.
And I think they're and kind of tying it into the coaching, into like the building the business aspect of it, where it's not just the creative and the content or the whatever, it's
Right.
the business. I think if creatives build the business, then you once you build your business and once you like get outside of just like, hey, I got to work on the art or I got to get this new camera, I got to whatever, and you actually build the business and you grow and you
Hmm.
realize how many people out there actually will spend the money
Right.
on it. You got to get in front of the right people, but then B, there is no way, there's no there is this giant proverbial ocean of work out there, and there's no way, there's just no way, even like forget like the rest of the world, like let's take like upstate South Carolina,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's no way any one photographer, videographer, company, team, whatever, like whatever, there's no way
You
anybody can
can't.
handle
You
everything that
can't.
needs to be done.
There's no
There's
way.
just not. And I'm not
There's
talking
too
like,
much to do.
yeah, and I'm not even talking like the more like high ticket stuff versus like the lower entry stuff. And I'm not even talking about that. I mean, even the high stuff, like
Yeah.
there's just, there's no way. There's just no way any
No.
one person, any one team could do it all. Like there's plenty to go around.
Absolutely not. And that's the crazy thing to me is that people do live in that scarcity mindset and they're just afraid. They're either afraid they have too many inadequacies and insecurities that they're afraid to even talk about. So instead, they just keep to themselves
Yeah.
and kind of, no, I don't want to say push people away, but are not as open to having conversations. And that was, so the flip side of that is I'm in that same mentality too, where I'm like, there's nothing new under the sun. There's only things you haven't tried yet.
Yeah.
So if I could, like, I'm a super light nerd. I love all the techie stuff. You don't have to have a fancy setup to do a podcast. You have a phone in your pocket. Great. You could switch it to 4K RAW if you want to, and freaking film a podcast, and it'll look just as good, if not better. But what I was going to say was the whole reason why I started a YouTube channel was to give away education, because
Yeah.
that again is what I want to do for people, is help them level up without having to face those fears in a way that they think like that's too big for me. I can't do that. And like
Yeah.
some of the stuff is so simple. And I had a eye-opening experience when I found out what a pocket wizard was back in, I don't know, 2009, I think is when I was like, I don't even know a high-speed sync means.
Yeah.
What is TTL? They're like, I don't know. So I was one of those that was like, it was a curiosity thing that has always taken me over the hump of fear.
Mhm.
And now it's to the point where I'm like, something new, something new. What is that? What does this do? And it's just like a fun game I like to play. And that's like, yeah, I have no aspiration to do the Marvel movies or Hollywood cinema, but I would love to be on set just to see how they do it, because I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And if it was one of those situations where, oh, extra pair of hands, can you hold this reflector because it's going to bounce this thing? I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I love being a part of the production. I don't have to be the camera. Like, I don't have an ego about that, and I don't have the scarcity mindset of like, oh, I'm going to show you the exact equipment I'm using, the exact settings I'm doing, because even if you have the same exact equipment and follow the same exact thing, your outcome is going to be completely different, because the way you operate in here is different and your
Yeah.
creative vision is different. So like, I'm not afraid to show you like, oh, I'm using the Profoto B1, BX2, 3, XY Zebra. Like, it doesn't matter. What matters is the customer experience. And like what you're saying about, it's cool to have somebody to tell a frustration to, like, take the product away. It's just business.
Mhm.
Like all the stuff that you have with like the client experience, or this delivery was late or slow or fast, or they have this, whatever feedback, like it's not diamonds or a steak or a tool or a picture. Like, it's the relationship, it's the experience, it's the business. That's the real thing. And that's the thing that I try to help people navigate, is the business of everything. Because if you're not treating it like a business, then you don't have one.
Yeah. Well, it just becomes a very expensive hobby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of problems too.
Yeah.
And you might even get slapped on the wrist by the IRS.
Yeah. When you get like, well, and the other thing I didn't mention there was that like you have somebody to like share like the frustrations with, of like, hey, like this happened, or I'm frustrated by this or whatever. But then you also get to share like the wins of like, oh, hey, like we're getting to do this project, or hey, we booked this thing, or hey, we whatever, and
Mhm.
getting to and it's just and like not that like not that like a normal business coach is going to be like,
Yeah.
cool, great, whatever. Not that not
I
that
told you so.
exactly, not that the normal business coach isn't going to be excited for you,
Yeah.
but having somebody who like is in that world that you exist in, so they maybe understand it to a little bit of a better degree,
Mhm.
of like they know that when you say that like, hey, we're gonna be shooting this and shooting this and shooting this, your normal coach is gonna be like, okay, cool, yeah, awesome, hey man, congrats, that's awesome, and they're
Yeah.
looking at it from just the business side, whereas like when they're also a creative, it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
that's so like, hey, cool, congrats on the business side, but also, dude, that's sick. Like, you're gonna be shooting this
Celebrate it.
thing or doing that or whatever, because
Yeah.
they also can like they understand the creative opportunity as much. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what I was saying. They understand the creative opportunity as well as the business opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
Because and there's emotion to it, right?
mhm.
So especially, I remember when I raised my price for the first time, and then I pitched it to somebody, and I was nervous as heck, and like peed my pants a little and chewed my fingernails, and then they said yes, and I cried again and peed my pants even more, because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I get more joy out of like, you've done it to me. We have another one of our members that has doubled their
Mhm.
prices and they're getting more bookings now than they were before. And that to me is the win. Like that's the paycheck for
Mhm.
me, is getting those text messages, getting those celebrations that I'm like, oh my gosh. For me, it's all about impact and like making a difference in
Yeah.
somebody's actual life, just because we talk once a week, or just because we have a group where people chat, or just because like I give the insight and all from all the failures that I've had
Yeah.
to help people realize like you're not just capable of more, but I want to show you like a systemized way to make more money. And that's the short verse. I told somebody this yesterday. It was like, what do you do? And I said like, well, I help people make a little more money with a little less stress.
Mhm.
That's the gist of it.
One like so that was something and it's been in the past year where like that we talked before about like we don't like our project minimum is $2,000. Like we don't
Mhm.
do anything for less than 2 grand. Doesn't matter what it is. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
We don't do anything less than 2,000. It's just not worth it for us. And it's not even a like, oh, we have to make this much. No, it's just we looked at the numbers. I looked at like the time it takes to do things and the communication and the shooting and the whatever it is. It just doesn't make. And then because it's also the like the opportunity cost of like if we're doing this, that means we can't be doing that, right?
Right.
And all of that stuff. And like that's been one of the most like freeing things to come out of like I mean amongst a lot of other stuff, but that's been one of the coolest like I guess super practical like day-to-day things that's come out of it of like when I talk to a client and I say like or a potential client I guess and I say like hey like our minimum is 2 grand like we just like so then it's like there's a balance of it for me of like hey I want to make sure whatever we're doing I
Yeah.
want to make sure you're getting $2,000 worth of value like
Right.
I'm just not gonna be like we're gonna come and do like this one photo like no hey like we're gonna make sure that when you're spending 2,000 you're getting $2,000 worth of value
Right.
but also
The value's there.
exactly but
Yeah.
also I can make sure that I'm not filling up our calendar with a bunch of smaller projects that
Right.
like they're going to take up more just as much time they're not going to pay the bills the way they need to and also it's going to take me off of it's going to put me on the me or other
For
associates
whoever.
or
Yeah.
whatever it's going to take up our time and not really
That's it.
give us what we need in order to like hit the goals that we need to hit for top shelf and the
Mm-hmm.
reality is if top shelf doesn't pay the bills and doesn't exist and isn't profitable, then it can't. If Top Shelf goes out of business, we can't help anyone.
Right.
Like no matter how much we want to, you know. And I think that was one of the big things is like getting in the numbers and the business and the like really growing that part of it was understanding that like
Mm-hmm.
as much as I want to help people and I do, I want to. I mean, like what we talk about with businesses, we want to help them like we want to help them widen their audience and still loyalty and net results. Like at the end of the
Right.
day, working with businesses, like we want to make you money. We want to empower you to achieve your real world goals.
That's
You
exactly
know?
that's exactly my passion. I feel like, and I that the crazy thing to me is if you'd have told me 2 years ago that Spencer, you're going to make a living, not pushing the button every day, like
Yeah.
not being a photographer,
Mhm.
I'd be like, you're insane. But the passion, like I said a minute ago, the passion for me now is seeing other people succeed,
Yeah.
whether it's I'm coaching someone and they're succeeding, or it's my client gets the picture that they've always wanted. Like that's the win. That's the thing for me. And
Yeah.
and I hope one day I am an independent millionaire so that I can have a coaching program that's a charity.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes and joins and pays, I'm like, cool, we get to bless somebody else today.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I love. And back to the businessy stuff. One of the things that I really enjoy about the coaching program itself is looking at people's numbers and helping them block things, fill the gaps, avoid these pitfalls, help structure and streamline and put things in place that actually makes you profitable.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing for me. But the thing I wanted to say, I had a thought about
Yeah.
wedding photography, for example, right?
Sure.
Let's say you said 6 grand for wedding photography. Cool. Let's reverse engineer how much that actually costs. So you have the day of, right?
Mhm.
Which is usually, let's just call it 8 hours.
Sure.
Okay. Then you have, if you did the rehearsal, that's 2 hours minimum.
Something like that.
Okay. Did you have a bridal portrait? Maybe. So that's probably 3 hours ish. Okay. What else? You had a consultation for sure, which is at least an hour minimum. Um, Then you have the editing. And so for me, I know the editing was, well, if I just put my butt in the chair, it'd probably be like a solid day. So that's, I'm going to say 8,
Hmm.
but somewhere between 8 and 12 hours. Okay. So just that's 16, 17, 20. You're in it for somewhere between 20 to 24 hours of work for 6 grand. And if you do the math on that, let's see, how many dollars per hour is that? So that's 250. But guess what? You don't have a weekend, you don't have a life, you don't really have anything. So I can tell you back from my wedding day, I was average ticket price was around $3,500.
Hmm.
So that was you, and I've done the math on this myself for all the stuff, and it came out to be like $78 an hour. And I was like, I'm not, I'm, I'm not making, I'm not making any money. $3,500 is a decent bit of money, but it happens one time for one thing, and I have to spread it out over all these different days, and I was only getting one or two of them a month. It's not that great.
Yeah. Yeah, you're really like if you're doing weddings, in order to really, and the other part of that is that's not counting any of your costs. Like that's just you.
Oh yeah. If you
Uh,
have a bridal portrait, you have to print it, and what does that cost you? If you have a wedding album, you have to again print it. What does that
I
cost
wasn't
you?
even thinking that. I was thinking like gear, travel, uh,
Oh yeah.
equipment, insurance, like all, yeah, all of that stuff.
All of that.
Um, yeah, I mean, wedding, like, so from a business standpoint, so I used to do, like I said, a lot of weddings, back at the beginning of Top Shelf, and we still do weddings, and I'm looking to bring in that back. But it'll be more of like a thing that, because I really do enjoy them. Like I really do love shooting weddings. But
Hmm.
from a business standpoint, it just didn't make as much sense as doing business branding and like
Hmm.
working with businesses over and over. Because and even that's even been a shift with Top Shelf where we still will do one-off projects for people, and that's fine because
Yeah.
sometimes that's what they need, or that
Yeah.
frankly that's kind of, they can't really afford a retainer, but they can afford a one-off project, right?
Sure.
So we'll do one-off stuff for people, but from a business standpoint, I mean, well, first off, the goal is they don't get remarried, right? Like the goal is like they don't get divorced, and and let's say they do get divorced, they're probably not going to hire you for their next wedding. I wouldn't. Like, I'm not going to hire my photographer. You know what I mean? Like that, I feel like that'd just be really, or my videographer. I feel like that'd just be really awkward. So like, like there's a referral aspect to weddings, and you can, there's some strategies to that, and there's some people that make great money doing weddings. But that's typically when they're, at, I'd say 6K would be like the floor. You're really more like, 8, 9, 10K. And then you have like a really solid referral pipeline, but not even with couples, it's with like the wedding planner.
Right.
Because like at that price point, really the wedding planner is the person that's like putting like, they're finding the options and then going to the couple and being like, hey, here's like 3 photographers. But if you're like one of the planners, like go-to photographers, then you're in that mix of 3 people typically,
Hmm.
right? Or
Hmm.
maybe it's like they just, hey, you need to work with these photographers, right?
Right.
So like there's strategies that you can do with that, but in my opinion, like it just makes a lot more sense to like, I'd much rather work with the same people over month, continue to provide value for the business and for the brand and like help them achieve their real world goals. And then from a business standpoint, like a sales standpoint for Top Shelf, we just we know what we make every month. Like
Right.
we have that reoccurring revenue month
Hmm.
over month. So and that helps us give a good baseline and helps with staffing, helps with expenses, helps with our growth as a business because we're not having to go out and like hunt for this for if we're if our sales goal is $30,000 a month, right? That's what we need to hit. Then I don't have to go if we have say 15K of that, 20K of that is in retainers.
Yeah.
We really only need to find and hunt down, 10K worth of sales every month
Yeah.
because 15 to 20 of that is proverbial check in the mail,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and that's anytime you can increase your MRR, the
Mhm.
better off you're going to be because then you have predictability and scalability.
Yeah.
And for people that are even thinking like, I'm good, I don't want a team, I don't need to grow. I'm like, cool. Do you want to have predictable money?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Like,
It's like
do you
even
want to
if it was
know
just
what's
me.
going to happen next
Yeah.
month?
Hmm. Yeah. And then being able, well, and then thinking from like a business standpoint, like if you're, so like for us, like one of the big goals is we want to have a studio. We want to have a building, right?
Mhm.
Being able to go to a bank, right? Unless you're just going to buy a building and just save up money for years and years and years.
Right.
Like you're gonna have to go to a bank, and that bank is going to want to know, okay, like how much money have you made? Like what's your debt? What's your blah, 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 whatever. And one of the best things that you can do is like being able to show, like, hey, yes, we made X amount of money this month and whatever. But one of the things that they also love to see is, oh, hey, by the way, we have $20,000 in, or whatever the number is. We have 80,000, $100,000 in retainers already, like contracts signed for the next month or
Mhm.
next year,
Mhm.
whatever it is. So like, hey, not only have we already made this month, been this profitable in the business so far, but also, hey, for the first, we can already tell you that at minimum we're going to make 100 grand in the next
Right.
12 months,
Yeah.
because, and
There's
that's
going to
not like
be,
projecting like hopeful wishes. That's like contracts
no, that's,
signed,
yeah.
done.
And I think that definitely helps, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as a solopreneur.
Hmm.
If you don't have an LLC and you W-2 pay yourself, it's going to be really hard for you to get a loan or a mortgage or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
not only knowing what you have, but being able to show it as leverage to be able to do something,
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. So, and that's what, there's a lot of creatives that they like the small projects because it's more boutique. I'm like, that's cool. Can you scale that? And if you don't want to scale that, I would challenge you that you're probably not thinking about it correctly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to grow, then like unless you have a daddy at home that loves your little business, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into that, but um wow, the intrusive thoughts just took over for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, a scale being predictable is really the best way that you can scale because then like, oh, I can hire an admin. Oh,
Hmm.
I can hire a concierge. Oh, I can hire this. I can do this because I have it coming in to make the client experience better. And the more I can do that, the more it becomes bigger and bigger and evolves into a thing where you just get to be, I like to say, like, you're the guy that owns the bar that goes to play bartender once a week
Hmm.
because you want to,
Yeah.
because it becomes like the thing that you do for fun.
Well, and like not even like, so what we were talking about, uh yeah, it was earlier this month. We were doing the annual, and like kind of the big thing with Top Shelf right now is like, for me, well, I guess not, well, it's Top Shelf, but me specifically is really shifting from like operator to director, right?
Mm,
Where it's like I'm not on the front lines of editing, and now I've got an admin, so I'm not really I don't need to be on the front lines of like regular client communication, right?
right.
So that frees me up to be able to, like, my like day in day out weekly Top Shelf, right? Like
Hmm.
what I need to be doing is I either shoot it, if it's not shooting, selling, or directing, then I don't need to be doing it, right?
Yeah.
But that frees me up because, frankly, like, can I edit? Yes. I'm a good editor, but I'm not a fast editor. Like, it takes me longer than somebody who like loves editing. And like, I recognize that editing is a part of the process, and it's part of what needs to
Yep.
happen for it, but I
Yep.
don't like editing. Like, I can do it, and I have done it, but I don't like doing it as much as I like shooting, and I don't like doing it as much as I like talking to people and
Right.
like the more client facing side of things. So, and it's just been what's dragged me away from that, from the client side facing side of stuff, because
Hmm.
it just had to get done, right?
Yeah. And
So
I've
cool.
seen that ramp up in you in the past, the time we've been working together is
Mhm.
the acceleration of, oh, I really like helping people strategize what
Oh
we're
yeah.
actually going to do with the content that we're going to make.
Yeah. Well, and being able to help, like, sit down with people and like, hey, so like the brand clarity guide was something, like, course that we came out with last fall.
Hmm.
And like that was ideated out of like, hey, what's the stuff that what would be the most useful to the most amount of business owners, to the widest pool of business owners, but also what are the questions that we find ourselves constantly asking business owners when we are doing it with them, and being able to
Hmm.
systemize it for our internal use, but also like if a business just isn't at a point where they can work with us, well, hey, here's a more budget friendly option to give you if I can only give you one thing, it's going to be strategy, because that's going to underline or underpin your content that you produce yourself, your social media that you do yourself, your website that you're probably doing yourself on Squarespace.
Hey,
If
I do that. Don't
Yeah,
pick on
well,
me.
no, I just mean that,
I
like,
do that.
if you're not big enough where like you can't afford to spend a couple $1,000s to work with
Mhm.
us month over month on a retainer, right? Then you're probably doing some of that stuff to yourself.
Yeah.
So let's give you the biggest, best thing that we can give you, which is the strategy that's
Right.
going to be the tide that lifts all those boats, right?
Right.
But being able to do like the more client facing side of things, right? And move out of the editing. So being able to, like, now we're building the systems and stuff for my admin to be able to run, so that like everybody that works with Top Shelf gets a really, really just solid, awesome client experience
Hmm.
that doesn't take my time. That doesn't
Well,
take it
because it's
doesn't take my
systematized with automations.
Yeah, well, it doesn't
Yeah.
take my time. It doesn't even take my admin's time. He has to make sure that it happens and he's kind of monitoring it.
Hmm.
But everybody gets a really, really solid experience. And then it frees me up to be able to do the things that I really enjoy doing, which is like working with clients, is shooting, like visionary, directing the team,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But it also is the stuff that I'm good at. Because
Hmm.
like I don't
Well,
I like I can do systems, but that's not my default. That's not what I
yeah.
enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to send emails all day. I don't want to.
Well, that's the creative brain.
Yeah. Yeah. So like me being able to like do that, like, frees me up to do the things that I know that I'm better at, but
Hmm.
also things that I enjoy doing, which makes my life better.
Yeah,
Like,
well, and that's, a lot of businesses, I'm sorry, a lot of creatives just they want to build the car while it's going 80 miles an hour down the interstate,
been
but
there.
they don't realize like, hey, if you just pull over, work on the system, then you can sit in the passenger seat while the car drives.
Hmm.
That's an amazing place to be. And I'm working on trying to get into the back seat, not even the passenger.
Yeah.
Like I want to get myself into the trunk and just like take a nap, not like a hostage situation or anything,
Yeah.
but systematizing your business and any automations that you can put in place with proper delegation is just going to escalate you. It's a game changer,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I love. And like I said before, like the numbers and the geeky nerdy data stuff has become super interesting to me. And I got paid a compliment a few weeks ago that I was in a meeting, and a new person it came into the room, and they were like, "Hey, you meet Spencer? Blah blah blah. He's a I forget what they said, creative professional." And I said a little bit about what I do, and that new person was like, "Oh, you're like a real artist." And then the other person was like, "Well, he's like 75-25. Like
Sure.
he's pure creative, but he kind of loves the numbers too." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be shifting even more to like 60-40, because I'm like, oh, what other system can I create? What other thing can I automate to give me the time like we talked about off camera?
Mhm.
I sat on the couch for a whole day, and I didn't do anything, but I read a book from cover to cover.
Yeah.
And like the more you can systematize with automations and proper delegation, the more you can do stuff like that. Or the other thing you said was like flipping your kid over and giggling and laughing
Oh
and like
yeah. I
playing and stuff.
yeah, I got to spend 20 minutes flipping Ollie like a pancake.
I mean,
Like,
that's
it was
that's
awesome. And he was giggling and having a great time. And it's
that
just, yeah.
that to me is the point of having a successful business, is
Yeah.
because time is precious and we're all squandering it. So the more you can regain your time to use it for the things that are actually important and really matter, like that's why I exist, because I want to help people do that.
Yeah.
um
Well, and it's like when I talk to business owners, right? Like, and so it's the thing that I tell people all the time is like every business is going to have a how, what, and a why. So
yep.
your how is like the physical like thing that you do, right? So I always use roofers as an example. You put a roofs on houses, pretty straightforward, right?
Hmm.
But no one is hiring you like just because you put a roof on a house. Like that, no, like the roofer is going to talk about we use X shingles and we have this process and we have this system and this nail gun and this blah 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 that nobody cares about. They don't
Right, right.
no one cares. The general population does not care how you do what you do, right? They
Only
care
other
about the what.
roofers.
Huh?
Only other
Only,
roofers.
only, only other roofers, right?
Yep.
If we're gonna say us, it's cameras and lights and computers and
Yeah.
WordPress and Elementor and blah blah blah, all the
The
whatever
clients
stuff.
don't care.
Yeah, they care about the what, which is the solution you provide, the problem that you solve, right?
Hmm.
And then your why, which is like out of all the things you could have been doing in your life, why are you doing this? Because that's that person to person connection. That's them being able to connect with you as a person. And then also in that mix of that what and that why is you're able to articulate that you uniquely understand where they're at, what their problem is, and you are also uniquely qualified to solve it for them. And then you just become, I mean, you become irresistible. Like it becomes this thing of like, why in the world would they use anybody else,
Anybody
right?
else, yeah,
But like
because
all of,
you come to the they come to the you become
Mhm.
the point of questions being answered
Mhm. Which is
without
like,
hesitation.
yeah, and that like in our thing has nothing to do with a camera. Like has nothing to do with a light or a camera or like that's a tool. It has nothing to do with a
Yep,
website or it has
yep,
nothing to do with social media.
yep,
It's just those are tools in a toolbox. And
yep.
it's like, hey, we're going to use whatever tools we want to use in the toolbox. But ultimately, you're like the goal is like when I think when people talk about Top Shelf, when they tell they refer Top Shelf to other people, when they think Top Shelf, like I don't really want them to even think content specifically. Like, yes, people are going to know that we do photos and video and websites. And so like, I'm
That's
cool if they
part
know
of
the
it.
tools
Yeah,
that we use,
yeah.
but ultimately I want people to know Top Shelf as a creative partner that helps empower them to real world results. And sometimes that means content. Sometimes that means a website. Sometimes it's a smaller business. They're like sub 200K gross revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest, best thing that we can do for them is give them that core foundational strategy to empower them to the things that they're going to have to do on their own for a little while,
Right.
you know? But whatever that looks like being able to just be that problem solver for people. It's awesome. And that's if you told me in 2018, that was what Top Shelf would turn into, I probably wouldn't believe you.
Yeah.
Because that's just been over time. That's just what
Mm-hmm.
that's what I've seen with business owners, but that's what I've realized myself is that like nobody cares nobody cares how you do it. They just want the problem solved. So
Right.
however you solve the problem, like the joke I make is like, look, you like, and I'll tell business owners this. It's like, let's level with each other, right? You don't care whether I use a camera, a computer, or a magic fairy wand. Like you don't. I could be like, we're gonna sprinkle some unicorn dust and
Mm-hmm.
go get a troll fart, and we're gonna mix them together, and it's gonna solve. Cool, awesome, great, sounds good.
That's
Like they
great.
don't care, right?
Yeah.
Like they just want the problem solved. So when you can articulate, and that's why I think that's my favorite thing about strategy and like helping business owners communicate the value of what they do, because so many businesses, they're so talented. They're so good at what they do. They just suck at communicating it to other people because all they want to do is just talk about the how and the how and the how and the how and the how. And it's just, if we can just tweak this and just help, like if we can just get you talking about the right things, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, forget content, forget website, forget whatever, just in-person networking, just when you are communicating with people, when
Yeah.
they call you,
Yep.
would change the game.
Well,
And it's
yeah.
just,
And that's
yeah.
that's the shift that I've had recently. Because I thought about it, I'm like, oh, if you actually told people that, yeah, I was able to help photographers scale their business to make money that they never thought was possible before
Mhm.
by simply changing a couple small things through the program that's laid out right in front of you. If you commit to it, it will change you
Mhm.
and it will
If you commit to it,
systematize
yeah.
if you commit to it. The work is boring. I do the same. I've been doing the same work for 4 years now.
Mhm.
Before I ever launched the program, 5 years. Yeah, it's been a long time, but I commit to it, and because I've committed to it, like I was able to buy my brother a car,
Mhm.
and not have to wonder like how I was going to pay for it. Like he needed a car, and I was like, I don't really want to because of other reasons, but I was like, you need a car, and I have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where that becomes money becomes a tool, and it's not about the generating the money because that happens automatically when you put proper systems in place.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I get real excited about. So,
What frees you up where you're able to focus on like the 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 kind of front lines of the business, right?
mhm,
Like when you have the systems and then and then you build the systems and then you're able to bring in the people to run those systems and you're kind of removing yourself more and more from the front line of things where like it, and I think there's kind of twofold because it's like you're removing yourself, putting in a system and then putting in people that can run those systems if you're wanting to expand and grow
right,
beyond you just doing
right,
it.
right.
But then also in doing the work, you realize what's actually possible for the business. Because rather than having to spend, I know for me anyway, like rather than me having to spend all of my time, like how I've described it to people before, is like without the systems, without the structure, without anything, like you're just here. You're just looking like what's right in front of you. What's this next bill you have to pay? What's this next edit you need to get done? What's this next whatever, right? When you have the
Mile
systems,
long to-do list.
exactly, yeah, that's never going to get done, right?
Right.
Like you're able to like raise your sightline a little bit because this is sorted. Like this is getting taken care of, whether it's by a system, whether it's by someone you hired, whether it's by whatever. This is sorted. So now you're able to raise your sightline a little bit. Okay, hey, how do I improve that? How do I move this back even farther?
Right.
We're like now, like I'm not worried about paying this next bill, and I'm also not worried about how I'm paying my bills next month.
Right.
Like, and then you get to a point where like, hey, not only am I like financially are things good, I've got stability, I'm able to grow if I want, I'm able to do these things, but then it's also like, hey, I'm gonna buy my brother a car because I'm just able to do that, right?
Right.
Um,
And
one
I'm
of the
not, I'll
yeah,
preface it like, hey, I'm not an independent millionaire.
yeah, not yet.
Okay. Not yet. I am in here, just not in my wallet yet. But
Yeah.
the thing that I love about it is, with the proper system in place, then money becomes a tool without emotion tied to it.
Mhm.
And that's the really cool thing for me. That's the biggest shift I had several years ago when I started.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wait a minute, wait, wait, wait. I paid all my bills out of this one account, but I still have like all these other monies here that I don't even
He's referencing Profit
I
First,
don't
by the
even know
way,
what to do.
as a banking
Yes,
system, which I'm 100% a fan of.
Private First is amazing, and that's one of the systems that we teach inside of our man, my mind just went blank.
Well, and like so
It's
thinking
one of the
like
systems we teach inside of the coaching program
yeah.
that I'm a diehard, like we will always teach it because it just works.
Yeah. Well, thinking like, I mean, even so, I started using Profit First in November, and it was a shift. Like it was a bit of a like I had to kind of shift some stuff around or whatever. But like I was able to come into January of this year, right? So call it 2 months. I was able to come into January of this year. In January, across a lot of businesses, and I would say even myself, thinking of like January historically is just clench your butt cheeks and get through it. I mean, it's just January, and then like the middle of summer, like June, July, well, July-ish, June, July, August-ish, are like the two just like dead times during the year historically. Like that's what I've always just seen and felt and stuff. Is those 2 times a year are just like don't spend any money, don't do anything, just try to make it through to when people are going to spend money, when people are going to book you, when people are going to whatever, right? I was able to pay myself a full salary at the beginning of January, and it was fine. And it was, you know what I mean? Like it was, and it wasn't like it was cool, and there was still money in the bank. I was able to, I didn't want to, but I was able to write my CPA a 4K check later on in January, and there was still money in the bank and stuff was still getting taken care of while I was also hiring an admin. Like it's just, and I'm not an independent millionaire either, not yet. But like being able to like, but because things were allocated and there was a systems and there was like, hey, I know I can spend this much on this and I can do this for this and I can like having the systems and the understanding where like money, like you said, money, it stops being this emotional, like, oh my gosh, I have this if we're gonna use profit as a specific thing rather than like I've got this one little bag of money and this is all the money that I have in the world and I've got to spend it on all these different things and how am I going to be able to have this for this and da, 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 da. Or the alternative is you just be some bookkeeping whiz that has this whole program where it's all allocated to, and nope, I'm far too much of a creative for that. Not happening. Instead, it's like, okay, hey, it's all broken out. It's like, hey, I have this much to spend on this. I can afford to spend this on this, and it makes it to where it's not emotional. It's just, it just pay the bills. And then I move on with my life. And I'm able to move on with my life in a way that it's not, it just is what it is. It's part of doing things. And I just pay the bills and frankly, I pay the bills and I just go make more money, and it's fine. But yeah, just having systems it's incredible. Yeah.
I love that. So I have a question that I wanted to ask, and that was, if any business owner is listening, If they could only fix one thing about their marketing this year,
Mhm.
what do you think it should be? I think you already kind of
Yeah,
touched
yeah.
on
I'd
it.
say that it'd be that how, that, what, why. Like that, like how you communicate the not just talking about the specifics of what you do, like the mechanism that you use,
Hmm.
but getting super clear on the problem that you solve, the solution you provide, and how to position what you do as a solution, not just the thing, right? So like the one of the examples I always give people is like photographers, right? People, or well, actually no, hold on. What I usually will
I
use
was gonna
photographers,
say,
but
is
I'm gonna
there
say
a
videographers.
personal attack coming?
Yeah, no, no, no. Well, it just it eats me up because like it eats me up and I feel really bad for them. So many photographers, like a business owner will be like, "Hey, like looking for a videographer, whatever. We're gonna help you tell the story of your brand." Great, cool.
Yeah.
How does but I like as a business owner, okay, I don't care if people know the story of my brand. I got bills. I gotta pay for a building. I got payroll coming up. Like
Uh-huh.
I gotta pay me, like how does telling the story of your brand, like how does that solve a problem for them? And the reality is it doesn't. It, if anything, it's a nice to have. That's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, listen, when we get super big, when we whatever, then maybe we'll splurge on something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus being able to communicate that, like, hey, what we want to do is we want to help you guys build authority because that's going to help you stand out in your industry. We want to inspire trust so that by the time people are talking to you, it's not a question of whether or not they're going to work with you. They just want to know what the next step is. How do
Right.
they pay? Where's the contract? Whatever.
Right.
Right. And we ultimately want to help declare results. We want to show people over and over and over again why how you've gotten the results for the other people and how you're uniquely qualified to get the results for that next person you're going to work with, right?
Yep.
But that becomes something where that's useful to a business owner. That solves a problem. That helps them get real world results in their business, right? But being able to articulate that, like when we talk to business owners, like they'll talk to 10 people that quote unquote do what Top Shelf does, but they end up going with us because like we're not talking about we shoot with 4K cameras and we shoot with lights and we blah, 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 all this like I don't care about like my whole conversation is like, hey man, what's the win here? What's the like when this thing's done, like how is this thing going to help your business win? Because sometimes I've talked people away from content.
Yeah.
I'll talk to a business owner and they'll be like, oh yeah, we want to shoot this video and these photos and whatever. I'm like, great. Why? How does this thing actually help you?
Hmm.
Well, we saw this other thing this other person did, and we just want to. I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah.
You before we do that, like we're gonna let's like how what are you communicating to your audience? Who is your audience? Who is your ideal client?
Yeah. Some
Like
people don't even know that.
what are you offering them? And then like how are we positioning that as a solution? Like there's so much before we're even gonna pick up a camera.
Hmm.
But then also, just because we picked up a camera, what are we doing with it? Right?
Right.
Do you have some sort of online presence? Do you have a website? Do you have any kind of like consistency on your socials? Like, do you have, and again, that's why I love being like that holistic creative partner for a brand
Hmm.
because most of the time when they're working with people, they're either just artistic or just strategic.
Right.
So the artist isn't asking the questions like, hey, what are we doing with this? And the strategic isn't asking the questions about messaging.
Right.
They're just like, okay, hey, let's just get something out there so we can whatever, so that like I believe that brands deserve better, like they deserve a creative partner that's both artistic and impactful, but you got to be, yeah, you have to have that mix of the storytelling and so which is ironic because I even kind of pushed back on like that language that we use of like leveraging storytelling and strategy to empower brands because I'm like,
Hmm.
everybody says story, like tell the story, but for us it's not about telling the story, it's about leveraging storytelling as a tool, as a skill set that we have. It's
Right.
about leveraging that but there's got to be a goal. It can't just be, hey, we're just going to tell the story. It's
Hmm.
we're going to leverage storytelling and but also leverage strategy to empower brands. Cool, great. What does empower brands look
But
like?
yeah,
That's
you become the tongs to turn the chicken so you don't burn your fingers.
yeah.
I mean,
So it's
that's
like
the
leverage.
important part.
Well, it's like like leveraging empowering brands is great, but like what like that sounds really cool on a t-shirt, but like what does
Hmm.
that really mean? And
Right.
it's to real world results because at the end of the day, that's what they care about. So short answer, that was a very long
Yeah, you're
lapse
good.
around a bush, but the short answer would be getting really clear on the solution you provide, the problem that you solve for people, and communicating that in a way. Um, just getting really good at being able to communicate that, and then why you do what you do, which is like I think a lot of businesses, especially smaller businesses, they shy away from profit.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're running a charity, by definition, you run a for-profit business, which means it's okay for you to make money. Actually, that's the purpose of what you're doing.
Yep.
Otherwise, what are you doing, right? So it's okay that you make money. It's okay that you pay your bills and you provide for your family. And if that's part of why you do what you do, that's awesome.
That's
But
right.
also, there's a reason why you could have done a lot of things to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this, right? And sometimes it's their personal experience, it's the industry they've worked in, they have a passion for it, it came out of a hobby and they turned it full-time job. Like and that's what's so cool is it's always so personal to the person.
Yep.
But communicating what you do, the solution you provide, the problem you solve, and then being able to don't ramble, but like being able to like succinctly bring that in and connect that with your why of why you started this business, why you do what you do, like why do you continue to do with this,
Right. Yep.
like why have you not shut this down and just went and worked at Walmart or something,
Yep. I
yeah.
agree.
So that just really focusing in on the what and the why, because that's going to help you, your content, your website, your social media presence, any content that you do. It's going to help everything.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So we're almost out of time, but I want to ask you some lightning round questions.
Oh,
What's
okay.
going to happen
Oh,
is
gosh.
you're not going to think about it. You're just going to say what comes out, okay?
Okay.
All right,
That's
so
dangerous.
we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock,
Okay.
and then here we go. Are you ready?
No, but sure.
Okay, answer first thing comes to mind. Coffee or energy drink?
Energy drink.
Scripted or off the cuff?
Off the cuff.
Short form or long form?
Depends on what it is for. Depends on what it's for.
Clients who listen or clients who pay more?
Oh, I probably that listen because yeah, listen.
Okay. One camera or multicam?
Multicam all day.
Progress or perfection?
Oh, I'm split in the middle on that one. Progress.
Instagram or YouTube?
Depends on what it's for. Yeah.
Teach strategy or just execute?
You mean when you say like with a business, you mean?
Yeah, like would you rather coach strategy
Uh-huh.
or operate a camera? So like would you
Oh,
rather
gosh.
teach strategy or just execute?
That's probably strategy. Yeah, probably strategy.
All right. Favorite part of the process, shooting or editing?
Shooting. Well, shooting, but I like editing is cool because you get to see how it all comes together. But I've done it long enough that like I can pretty much, and we do a lot of we do a ton of pre-production ahead of stuff. So like we have a pretty good idea of how it's going to turn out anyway. But it is cool seeing that final like thing come together.
One word to describe the future of video marketing.
Personal. No, really. Like, I mean,
I think
a lot of people like, I mean, that'd be one of the big things is I mean, a lot of smaller businesses, like they just need some sort of consistency online. But I think a lot of small businesses, especially if you're like solopreneur or small team, whatever,
Yeah.
like the more that you can show you as the business owner and the more that you can show the people behind the brand, like that's going to be what connects with people. That's going to be I think a huge thing that businesses that really succeed in the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to be a big part of how they succeed.
Yeah, I agree. So that's all the time we have. So I want to say, thank you for being here.
Sure.
If anybody watching wants to check out more about Dusty and what he does, you can check him out at topshelfmediaco.com. And then on Instagram, it's Top Shelf Media Company. YouTube is what?
Top Shelf Media Company.
Okay,
we made it real simple.
I mean, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out more, send him a DM, ask him a question, pick his brain, or sign up for his brand clarity guide, which I know from experience is pretty awesome. So, man, thanks for being here. And if you want to check out more of me, you can go to photolines.com or spencerstanton.com. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys. Thanks.